Good morning, student. I am going to teach you the lesson The Last Leaf, written by O. Henry. And before that, I welcome you all to my class. So now, children, I am going to teach you the lesson The Last Leaf, written by O. Henry. Okay. Now let me give you the introduction. Written by O. Henry, the story The Last Leaf is based on the maxim, where there is a will, there is a way. Where there is a will, there is a way. If we look at the dark side of the thing, we shall lose the charm of life. Children, life is full of obstacles, but if we lose, there are so many ups and downs in our life. But if we will always look upon the downside or the dark side of the thing, we will lose the charm of this life, and we only get life only once. So children, let us be optimistic and hopeful and perform our duty sincerely. This is actually the message of the chapter also. Let us be optimistic and perform our duty sincerely. Okay. Now children, Gift of Maggie is one of the most famous story written by O. Henry that refers upon the willingness of a person to fulfill his determination. Dusk by Saki M.H. Munro is also narrated on the same line, so it also must be ready by us. Okay. Now, so we should also read Saki, Dusk by Saki. Now I will be telling you the important points of the story, and I will be explaining you about the story. Children, first of all, in this story, this is a story about two friends, Sue and John C. Okay, so my first point is, this is a story about two friends. What were the name of those two friends, Sue and John C? They were the two young artists. They lived together in a small flat on the third story of a house. So children, they lived in a small flat on the third story of a house. Now John C's illness. Okay. Pneumonia had spread in the locality. John C. fell a victim to it. In spite of medicine, she did not recover. She had lost all her hopes of life. She lay by the window side of her room. She looked out through the window. A green ivy creeper hung along the wall. Due to rainy and stormy weather, its leaves started falling one by one. She attached the falling of leaf to the breath she was taking. She felt she would die when the last leaf would fall. So she felt that she would surely die if the last leaf will fall. She was very much worried. She sent for the doctor. So her friend was very much worried. Sue, and she sent for the doctor. He checked John C's condition, but then there was no change. One day the doctor asked Sue why John C was absorbed in deep thought. Sue did not know. John C would not get well, said the doctor, if she loses hope. She has to be of a very strong willpower. The doctor said medicine would not work if she loses hope. If one loses hope of life. Sue duty towards her friend. Sue tried her best to divert John C's attention to other things of life. She talked about clothes and fashions, but John C's mind was not off her illness. Suddenly one day John C spoke loudly, 12, 11, 10. Reverse counting. Sue asked her what she was doing and came to know that she has lost hope of life. She refused to take soup offered by Sue. Sue kissed her and tried to encourage her, but then there was no effect on John C. Okay, so Painter helped to Sue duties toward her friends. So Sue children. So children, a painter helped John. So Sue tried her best to divert Jancy's mind, though she was taking lot of care to Jancy. She was preparing soup for her. She was combing her hair. She used to encourage her with a nice thought. Okay, she talked about clothes and fashion, but so that the Jancy mind could divert from the illness. But Jancy mind was not of her illness. Suddenly one day Jancy spoke loudly. 12, 11, 10, reverse counting. Sue asked her what she was doing and came to know that she had last hope of life. She refused to take soup offered by Sue. Sue kissed her and tried to encourage her, but then there was no effect. Jancy told her then the last leaf will fall. That would be the last day of her life. She would die then. Painter helped to Jancy's. An old painter named Behraman lived on the ground floor. He dreamed of making a masterpiece. So children, he always used to dream that he would make a masterpiece. Sue told of her worries to him. He came to know about Jancy's whim of the last leaf. The night was very stormy. It was raining heavily. Jancy looked out of the window. Only one leaf had remained in the creeper. She thought she would die with the falling of that last leaf. Next morning she looked out again. The leaf was still there, young, green and fresh. She was surprised. Sue also saw the leaf. Jancy at once uttered, "I've been a bad girl. I felt it is a sin to want to die." Sue embraces Jancy joyfully. Now Behraman death. In the afternoon, the doctor came. He told them that Behram also had suffered from pneumonia and died in the morning. They found that his clothes and shoes had gone wet. Moreover, they found a ladder and a lamp with some brushes lying near the green creeper. They knew that Behraman had painted a green leaf on the wall. He had painted a masterpiece and died. This proved very useful for the survival of Jancy. So, children, I will explain the story. It is autumn. The wind is blowing hard and it is raining heavily. All the leaves on an ivy creeper except one have fallen. Why doesn't the last leaf fall? So Sue and Jancy, two young artists, shared a small flat. The flat was on third story of an old house. Jancy fell very seriously ill in November. She was suffering. She had pneumonia. She lay in her bed without moving and just gazing out of the window. In November, she had pneumonia. She lay in her bed without moving and just gazing out of the window. Sue, her friend, became very much worried about her. She went for the doctor. Although he came every day, there was no change in Jancy's condition. One day the doctor took Sue aside and talked to her. "Is anything else worrying Jancy?" "No," replied Sue. "But why do you ask?" The doctor said Jancy, it seems, has made up her mind that she is not going to get well. If she doesn't want to leave, medicine will not help her. Sue tried her best to make Jancy takes an interest in things around her. She talked about clothes and fashion, but Jancy did not respond. Johnsy continued to lie still on her bed. She used to lie in her bed every time, thinking something seriously. Sue brought her drawing board into Johnsy's room and started painting so that her mind would be diverted, but nothing helped her. To take Johnsy's mind off her illness, she whistled while working. Suddenly, Sue heard Johnsy whisper something. Then suddenly, Sue realized that her friend Johnsy is whispering something. She quickly rushed to the bed and heard Johnsy counting backward. She was looking out of the window and was saying 12. After some time, she whispered 11, then 10, then 9, and so on. Sue anxiously looked out of the window. She was looking at an old ivy creeper climbing halfway up the brick wall opposite the window. In the strong wind outside, the creeper was shading the leaves. "What is it, dear?" Sue asked. "6, whispered Johnsy. "They are falling faster now. 3 days ago, they were almost 100 leaves. There are only 5 left now." "It is autumn," said Sue, "and the leaf will fall." So Sue told, "This is autumn season. Definitely the leaf would fall." "When the last leaf fall, I will die," said Johnsy with finality. Now Johnsy told, when the last leaf would fall, she would suddenly die. "I have known this for the last 3 days. "Oh, that's nonsense," replied Sue. "But what have old ivy to do with you getting well? The doctor is confident that you will get better." Johnsy did not say anything. Sue went and brought her a bowl of soup. "I don't want any soup," said Johnsy. "I'm not hungry now. There are only 4 leaves. I want to see the last one fall before it gets dark, and then I will sleep forever. I will die then." Sue sat on Johnsy bed, kissed her and said, "You are not going to die. I can't draw the curtain for I need the light. I want to finish the painting and get some money for us. Please, my dear friend," she begged Johnsy, "promise not to look out of the window while I paint." "All right," said Johnsy. "Finish your painting soon, for I want to see the last leaf fall. I am tired of waiting. I have to die, so let me go away peacefully like one of those poor tired leaves." "Try to sleep," said Sue. "I have to paint an old miner. I will call Behraman up to be my model." Sue rushed down. Behraman lived on the ground floor. He was a good painter. He was a 60-year-old painter. His lifetime dream was to paint a masterpiece. But that had remained a dream. Sue poured out her worries to Behraman. She told him how Johnsy was convinced that she would die when the last leaf would fall. "Is she stupid?" asked Behraman. "How can she be so foolish?" "She is running a high temperature," complained Sue. "She refused to eat or drink, and that worries me a lot." "I will come with you and see Johnsy," Behraman said. They tiptoed into the room. Johnsy was sleeping. Sue drew the curtains together and they went to the next room. She peeped out through the window. There was only 1 leaf on the creeper. It was raining heavily and an icy cold wind was blowing. It seemed as though the leaf would fall any minute, said Behraman. Did not say a word. He went back to his room. Johnsy woke up next morning. In a feeble voice, she asked Sue to draw the curtains. She was nervous. She drew back the curtains very reluctantly. Reluctantly means unwilling. "Oh," Sue explained as she looked at the vine creeper. "Look, there is still 1 leaf on the creeper. It looks quite green and healthy. In spite of the storm and fierce wind, it did not fall." "I heard that wind last night," said Johnsy. "I thought it would have fallen. It would surely fall today. Then I will die." "You won't die," said Sue energetically. "You have to live for your friend. What would happen to me if you die?" Johnsy smiled weakly and closed her eyes. After every hour or so, she would look out of the window and find the last leaf still there. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper. In the evening, there was another storm, but the leaf did not fall. Johnsy lay for a long time, looked at the leaf, then she called out to Sue. "I've been a bad girl. You have looked after me so lovingly, and I have not cooperated with you. I have been depressed and gloomy. The last leaf has shown me how wicked I have been. I have realized that it is a sign to want to die." Sue hugged Johnsy. Then she gave her a lot of hot soup and mirror. Johnsy combed her hair and smiled brightly. In the afternoon, the doctor came. After examining his patient, he told Sue, "Johnsy now has the will to live. I am confident she will recover soon. Now I must go downstairs and see Bahraman. He is also suffering from pneumonia, but I am afraid there is no hope for him. The next morning Sue came and sat on Johnson's bed. She took, taking Johnson's hand in her, she said, I have something to tell you. Mr. Bahraman died of pneumonia this morning. He was ill for only 2 days. The first day, the janitor found him on his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He had been out in the stormy night. Then they found a ladder and a lantern still lighted lying near his bed. There was also some brushes and green and yellow paints on the floor near the ladder. Johnson, dear, said Sue, look out of the window. Look at the ivy leaf. Haven't you wondered why it doesn't flutter when the wind blows? That's Bahraman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell. And Johnson realized that she was leaving just due to him. Okay. So children, this in 7 Bahraman masterpiece saved Johnson's life. So she had developed a superstition. She felt she would die with the fall of the last ivy leaf. Actually, a severe attack of pneumonia had left her mind morbid. When she saw the last leaf surviving the windy wet night, her will to live revived. It made her realize that it was really a sin to want to die. And children, here Bahraman was an old painter. He was 60-year-old. He had an aim in life to create a masterpiece in painting before death. He realized it when he painted the ivy leaf. It was a masterpiece because Johnson and Sue, who were artists, could not know it was painting and not a natural leaf. So children, the theme of this story is that hope sustains life. The doctor rightly says that medicine cannot help if a person has no will to live. Johnson had a stupid belief: when the leaf does not fall, she realized that it is a sin wanting to die. Okay, so with this, children, I finished the lesson, and now I will be doing one poem with you. So children, we are doing, since the time is over and we have done that chapter also, still we are having 15 minutes with us, 13 to 15 minutes. So I am going to do the lesson Reach for the Top. Here we are having 2 parts. So we are going to do part 1, Santosh Yadav. Now this is a very interesting lesson that fills our heart with a desire that nothing is impossible in the world. Okay, and it is for us to realize our dream. So children, if you want to do something, if you have desire of doing something, then you can do it. Don't have this in your mind that nothing is impossible in the world. It is for us to realize our dream. In case we are determined and there is a little help, we can achieve fame, name and reward. This lesson deals about a girl whose name is Santosh Yadav. This is a true story from Haryana. The girl who has got the chance to conquered Mount Everest not once but twice in her life. She was a great achiever. She is the only woman in the world so set up this type of record. She faces all the difficulties that come in her way and ultimately finds a solution. So now I will be telling you something about the lesson, and I would like to start with the birth of Santosh Yadav. Okay. So in every family, children, birth of a son is regarded as blessing, especially in our Indian India. Okay, so in India, when son is born, people think it is a blessing. When the mother of Santosh was expecting a baby, a holy man visited and gave her his blessing that the lady was in need of a son. But the grandfather requested that she wanted a girl. The holy man was surprised and showered his blessing. Thus Santosh was born as the sixth child in the family, as there was already 5 sons. The girl was given the name Santosh, which means satisfaction or contentment. But Santosh was different from other girl. So what type of girl? She was a rebellion. Her parents were wealthy landowners and could send her to the best school in the capital, but according to the family custom, Santosh was sent to a local village school. She decided to fight the system in her own quiet way. When she turned 16, her parents pressurized her for marriage. She considered marriage the least important thing. She even threatened them that she would never marry if she did not get a proper education. She came to Delhi for education. Her parents refused to pay for her education. She politely informed that she would earn money through her own part-time work. This made her parents agree to pay for her education. Santosh passed the high school and went to Jaipur. Now children, as a girl also children, she was very bold. She never used to wear the girls' clothes which generally the girls of the village wear. She used to wear shorts and all that type of thing, and she openly used to rebel and tell her mother that it is not written anywhere not to put such type of clothes. Education in Jaipur. Finally children, she went to Delhi, and her final she got education, her higher education in Jaipur, Rajasthan, and she studied in from a very famous college of Jaipur. Okay, she joined Maharani College, one of the most renowned college of Jaipur, and got a room in Kasturba Hostel. The hostel faced the Aravali Hills. So children, the room where she was living, that hostel, it was facing the Aravali room. The hostel faced the Aravali Hill. There she was a villager going up the hill and suddenly vanishing after a while. Then children, she was a villager going up the hill and suddenly vanishing after a while. Santosh decided to find out the truth. She met a few mountaineering and asked them to join. They agreed. Then Santosh did not look back for her determination. She enrolled herself in a course at Uttarakashi's Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. After completing her education in Jaipur, she went to the institute for training. She informed her parents about it. Beginning of expeditions. Thereafter, she went on expedition every year. Her skill started improving, and then she got a remarkable skill in bearing cold and altitude. Her iron will, tolerance, and mental toughness lent her a helping hand. In 1992, she asked her Aravali mountaineers if she could join them. She was hardly 20 when she conquered Mount Everest. She became the young woman of the world to achieve this feat. Concern for others. Now children, Santosh Yadav, she was a very good girl. Her seniors were very impressed by her skill. In 1992, she gave a special care to a climber who lay dying at South Colne. She also saved another climbing by sharing her own oxygen cylinder. Mohan Singh and shared her oxygen cylinder with him, which generally no one do, because if oxygen children and finish, then it means that you are in a very difficult position. So nobody but to save another life, children shared her oxygen also. And Santosh found herself a member of an Indo-Nepalese women expeditions. Then she conquered the Everest for a second time. Thus she placed India on a unique place in mountaineering. The Indian government honored her with the Padma Shri. When she hoisted the national flag on the Mount Everest, her feelings were indescribable. She said, "I felt proud as an Indian." From there, she brought down some 500 kilograms of garbage. So children, you can see that this girl who was born and brought up in a village, okay, and where children though her final condition of the financial condition of the family was good, but then also there was a lot of hindrance in her education, okay, and a marriage as early that she was the last thing on her mind. She threatened her friend that she would never marry if she did not get a proper education. She left home and got herself enrolled in a school in Delhi. When her parents refused to pay for her education, she politely informed them of her plans to earn money by working part-time to pay her school fees. Her parents then agreed to pay for her education. Okay, so children, she was a very bold girl, okay. And children, she was not like the other traditional other girl who loved to wear traditional Indian dresses. Santosh preferred shorts. Looking back, she says, "Now from the very beginning I was quite determined that if I choose a correct and a rational path, the other around me had to change, not me." So children, she was a very bold girl. She told if she would choose a good path, definitely others will change. And children, she was a girl which was full of determination, okay. And whatever the prevailing custom was there, what she used to think, if it is suitable, she used to follow, otherwise she never used to follow that custom. So, and she was very much concerned about teammate, okay. She was concerned for the environment also, children. She was a great and courageous environmentalist. While she had finished her unfurling of the national flag at the Mount Everest, she was the one who collected 500 kilograms of garbage from there. She brought it down on the earth, okay. And children, she got into the record both times she conquered Mount Everest. And children, it was due to her climbing skill, physical fitness, strong determination, mental strength, and moreover she was courageous and an iron-willed Indian girl. And now children, Santosh began to climb mountains when she saw the villagers climbing and vanishing on the rubbles from her hostel room. This was a thing which impressed her in her life when she went to the hostel, and she was living in the Kasturba hostel, and she used to see the scene from her window that people are climbing to the mountain and they are children. And in this way she was she was interested, and she requested them to join. They were ready, and the Santosh was motivated towards climbing. So children, this is all, and we all know that children, she was a great person, because a person, children, always they lose hope, children, after they are so tired physically and they have to work so hard that only once climbing on Everest is enough. But here she is the only woman in the world who has climbed twice, okay. So you can see how strong willpower she was having. Santosh was highly recognized for her achievement. The Indian government bestowed upon her one of the nation's top honors. She was honored with the Padma Shri. It is the highest honor of her. So you can see children, due to her hard work, she had gained Padam Shri. So, children, uh, here we are, and so even children, she was a girl who decided that she would be living in Delhi. She would be living in Delhi alone, and she would earn by herself to pay her fees. So you can see how determined she was, a girl who was full of determination. With this, I end the chapter. Thank you and have a nice day ahead. Good day.